$5 trillion economy.
5 trillion.
A $5 trillion economy by 2024.
The $5 trillion
economy.
$5 trillion economy.
$5 trillion.
The target is
a $5 trillion economy
by 2024-25, more than double of what it is today. Now, is this a possible target? Is this an achievable goal? Or are these just figures that are being thrown around by the government?
Repetition of this goal does not make it any more likely.
I mean, is it really possible?
Say goodbye to $5 trillion. It's almost impossible. What hits the people most is unemployment, the inability to sell your product.
Can Modi deliver on his ambitions to create a $5 trillion economy? With job losses on the rise, consumers tightening their belts, India feels more like it's in recession.
So $5 trillion is possible?
Yeah, if you get 7-8% growth, if 4% inflation is possible. It's possible with 6%, any combination of 12, growth plus inflation, you can get there.
I think they're promising the moon. Right now, currently, the way the economy is functioning and the way the government is indifferent towards it, there's no way that 5 trillion economy is happening by 2024.
Just to underscore the challenge that India is facing, despite being the 7th biggest economy, its income per capita or per person is around $2,000 a year. By comparison, Indonesia's per capita income is $3,900. South Korea per capita income comes in at $31,000. Now, you could argue that's an unfair comparison because of the size of India's population. Well, China's per capita income is at $9,800. To reduce income inequality and reduce poverty, India has a fair way to go.
10% of Indians hold 77% of the total national wealth. India is the 5th largest economy in the world in terms of GDP, yet it was ranked 131 among 188 countries on the Human Development Index in 2017. The income inequality in India is the 2nd highest in the world. Economic development that focuses only on GDP and not on how money flows around within an economy can only allow some people to escape poverty, leaving many others behind. It is time we admit that the theory of trickle-down effect is a farce and only benefits those at the top of this pyramid scheme. We're seeing how our economic vulnerabilities are being exposed by the coronavirus pandemic. Our dependence on large corporations and a centrally planned economy has proven to be our biggest weakness. If even a small link in the supply chain breaks down, the whole chain falls apart. And for some reason, if our borders have to be closed, our people are going to suffer big time. They're going to lose their jobs, companies are going to shut down, many of the products we depend on won't be available, and the farmers and manufacturers who produce them won't be able to get them to the market. The poor and working class people would be hit the hardest. This centrally planned economy is clearly too fragile.
I think this crisis is exposing some deep vulnerabilities in our economy and our society, that we've constructed an economy which is not resilient. It's like a car without a spare tire. We were getting more and more efficient in a very, very narrow short-term sense, and we weren't seeing the bigger picture, vulnerability. How we treat everybody in our society. And maybe what will come out of this crisis is a realization that we pushed that too far. And so I think we're going to re-examine our economy and our society to ask, do we have the systems in place for social protection? Next time when we have a shock like this, will we be prepared?
Self-reliance is definitely the need of the hour. But can we become self-reliant by accumulating large amounts of capital in the hands of a few, with little of it coming back to the communities that helped create that capital? What if I told you there's a better way? A way to make our economy and society resilient and able to withstand any kind of fluctuations in the global market? What if I told you that economic development can also mean prosperity for all, where we don't depend so much on the job market, And our local communities are not colonized by large companies and global business interests. As Einstein said, we cannot solve our problems with the same thinking we used when we created them. We cannot realize the dream of a $5 trillion economy by 2025 with the same thinking that got us into this mess in the first place. We have to think different. Coronavirus has a message for us, but are we listening? Are we going to evolve and become wiser? I hope so. This crisis is really an opportunity to create a better world, to build a society that's resilient. We have to stop wasting the incredible amount of human potential and capacity we have in India.
Well, what you really need is to have the entire energy of the economy, of the people, to be producing, to be involved in activity, and that's what can give you very high growth rates. Getting access to credit to small entrepreneurs who want to do some business. If one is able to do that, then actually that's not just for jobs, but it's very, very critical for growth, because growth comes from small enterprises.
The survey also makes a pitch for bigger companies. It says MSMEs should be unshackled. Policy should be reframed to help them grow into bigger companies that will create more jobs.
The time has come to think bigger. Creating jobs is not the solution. More spenders and fewer producers is not good for the economy. It creates dependency. Especially when these few producers are from outside the local community. What we need is more people being producers, more goods and services being created and consumed locally, serving the needs of their local communities. This kind of economic vision of creating self-sufficient circles ultimately means more people would be engaged in creating and producing, and this would maximize our GDP. So it's time to stop feeding the pyramid and to start building a circular economy. It's high time we start moving beyond an extraction-based model to an empowerment-based model for our economy. This is the only way we can realize the vision for a $5 trillion economy by 2025 in a way that is sustainable and invincible. Are you ready to be part of this revolution? No dream is too big, and no obstacle is too big either.